know what it is. I'm currently in the ranking fever and I went through everything that I either ranked already or that I never ranked, and I thought let's either rank it now for the first time or just re-rank it. I know that intro was just dumb, so let's get started. But before we get started into the Odens Eye ranking, I want to tell you, of course, what I'm wearing on my lips. I am wearing the new Fenty Beauty Gloss Sticks, and this is the shade Is It Fuzzy? Cringe name, cringe name. I really do not know what's going on over at Odens Eye, but they just lost the spark. 2022, 23, no, I think it was 2022 was their year. That was the year where everybody wanted to have Odens Eye because that was the year after the Christmas stuff came out, and they just lost it. They just did not live up the hype, and they just came out with the Solomon 2 Moonwish palette, basically a re-release of a collection they already had like 4 years ago, and then the palette just slightly just changed the colors and amped up the saturations. And I'm pretty sure that when you have a lot of Odens Eye stuff, you do not need to buy the Solomon 2 Moonwish, so let's just rank the stuff that I already have and see what's my favorite. I don't think that is a big secret. So we're starting at number 11 with the Hey Reindeer palette. This is from last year, and while I understand the concept of this palette and I kind of like the composition, it's just, you know, it's just meh. It's meh. It does not give me feelings. It does not give me excitement. It's meh. But I'm also not ready to declutter this. I am not. I do not feel ready to let go because I feel like maybe I didn't give it a fair shot. But I also want to mention that the quality is kind of not good. It's not the same quality as an older Odens Eye, so I don't know what's on with that. At number 10, we actually have the other palette from that Christmas collection last year, but this one I like a tad bit more. At the end, I have the feeling that the, what's it called? The Snow Dream palette and the Hey Reindeer palette, they are very heavy inspired by the Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas collection, but turned down the saturation here. This is also a classic red and green, while the Hey Reindeer has like bluey icy vibes, but it's just not as punchy, it's not as intense. But I also have to say that I like this palette much more than I like the Hey Reindeer one. This, maybe because of the red, maybe because of the beautiful shimmers and that one holo shade, is just sparking a bit more joy. The holo shade is fine. It's not the best holo I've ever tried, but it's also not the worst. At number 10 is single eyeshadows, and we have two collections. We have the 2023 ones with the single, multichromes and shimmers, and then we have the collection of 2024. And honestly, that 2024 collection is here at number 10. I do like overall what Odens Eye did in here. I do like the choices of color, I do like the shifts, I do like the different ways of tackling textures and colors. But what I do not like is the incredibly inconsistency in the quality. Can you see these two shades? Do you see? They look like they're knotted or something. They look like there is something going on, like a dried up cream do they look like. There is so much binding component in them. It is not cool. Millie from Bad to the Brow, she has a video on how to press out that binding component. But honestly, I don't dare to do this. I don't want to do this. Let me say it like that. I'm happy that I can. I'm happy there are techniques how to make this work. But honestly, I don't want to make this work. And these two shades, let alone, are the reason why this palette is ranked so low. Because this has great shades. Oh, this guy here, wait, this is Loki. So fucking pretty. This green here, this is Aiden. Incredibly good. But very inconsistent in texture, very inconsistent in quality, so just number 10. At number 9, we have one of the few palettes that comes in this format, and this is the Flora Story palette. I kind of like that palette, but I do not like it enough to put it higher. It's at the end green, but it is a I don't know, like an interpretation of green that I like. Mixed with these purples, it gives a very earthy, kind of naturey inspired vibe, which is clearly what this is supposed to be. I think it's okay. It's a palette that whenever I use it, I am reminded of why I still have this. But it's also a palette that I have to force myself to use. It's nothing that I, out of the blue, think about. At number 7, we have one of the Halloween palettes that came out last year, or better said, the Halloween palette with Angelica Ninquist, and this is the Trick or Treat palette. I think it's quite obvious why this palette is ranked at number 7. I do like it. I love the pumpkin in here. Although I'm not that much of a warm and orange eyeshadow wearer, but I love the pumpkin. I love the poison in here. But it's just not something where I'm like, I look at this and be like, oh, hey, good to see you. It is a palette that I really, really appreciate to have in my collection. I love it much, much more than the others, but the upcoming 6 palettes that we are talking about, I would always prefer over this one. So at number 7, we have the Sea Talk palette that is in collaboration with Lauren May Beauty. And while at first glance, I honestly think that this palette is a bit busy and a bit too messy, when you use it, it kind of makes sense. It's like mermaids. It's like fish. It's the sea. It's sun reflecting. It's like kelp, electric kelp here. It is such an interesting take on that topic that I just created out of this collection where these palettes came out. There was also one called Planet Spirit. That one is already decluttered because I really didn't like that one. But that is the one that I used the most. That is the one that I got the most amazing looks out of. I don't know if they still have this, but if they do, go for the Sea Talk. This is a good one in that format. At number 5, we have the beautiful Jewels and Gem palette. This is from the... Was it called Stone and Rock palette? I have no clue. No, not palette, Stone and Rock collection. It was a very weird collection that came with 2 eyeshadow palettes. Yeah, one was called the Stone and Rock, then we had the Jewels and Gem, but there was also jewelry included. Like, I didn't really understand that. But this palette from this collection, oh my god. How pretty is this? This is like this muted, cool toned amethyst vibe, like special stones glistening in the sunlight. I really enjoy this palette. I think this is such a good color story that sparked a light of joy inside me that I haven't felt in a long time from Odens Eye. At number 4, we have the other palette from the Halloween collection, and this is the Little Ghost palette. First of all the artwork here outside is just insane, and then just take a look inside. Why is this at number 4, you ask? I think you know why this is. Beautiful blues, purples. You get everything you want to have for a super loud, glowy, glistening, glittering, interesting look. This palette sparked a very similar joy in me than the Christmas ones. And since I haven't talked about the Christmas ones of 2021, you already know that they will be kind of included in the top 3. So at number 3, we have the Merry Christmas palette, your typical red and green palette, very cozy. It just looks like the living room at Christmas, you know, with the green, the green tree, the lights, then some red accents, decor. When I look at this palette, I even smell it. I can even smell hot chocolate. I don't know, like these different scents of Christmas that just make me so cozy and happy. But it's only number 3 because there are 2 more that are just a tad bit better. And maybe my number 2 is going to be a big surprise for a lot of people, because I know that when they launched, people were very, very upset and gave them super bad reviews. But that first collection of Multichromes that Odens Eye did in 2023, for me, is a banger, is a hit. And maybe if we took out that one special shade, maybe I would have ranked this lower. But honestly, I also like the quality of this one much more than I like the quality of the 2024 chromes. This is better. I am pretty sure that somewhat between the first batch they released and the one that I bought mine, I think half a year later through Black Friday. I think they changed the formulation, because people who bought this from the first batch, they even had like oil leaking or like binding component dripping out of the shades. Mine do not do this. Absolutely stunning. And if you, from this very first collection, want to get only 3 shades, let me tell you which ones to get. Of course, you should get Angela. Oh, so stunning. You should get Judy. And you definitely 100% should get Eden. Just kidding. You should get Leon. Oh, I'm fainting, honestly. Honestly. Let me swatch those 3. I have a big collection of eyeshadows at this point, and I even have a big collection of red eyeshadows at this point. But nothing in my collection ever beat Leon. Will ever beat Leon. And at number 1, we have the Christmas Eve palette. This is, I will die on that hill that this forever will be the best Odens Eye palette that was ever released. And I will die on that hill that Odens Eye will never ever be able to release something like this again. This is just a, once in a lifetime thing. Every brand has this one palette at some point in their lifetime, in their lifespan in the market, that will just outshine everything else. And for Odens Eye, in my opinion, this is Christmas Eve. I kept on the swatches for a very specific reason, because in this palette is one shade that everybody and their mother and their sister and their brother and their ex-friend, their boyfriend, their husband, and their affair wants to have. And they are so sad that once this was sold out, I'm honestly not sure if you can still buy this, because they were re-released last year. Not sure if they're still in stock. But everybody wants to have that shade, and that is the shade Gorgeous. Look at this. So why did I keep now these swatches on? Gorgeous is the exact same as Judy from the 2023 Chrome singles. I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. I don't know why, but I thought it is Judy, but it is Angela. It is from the singles. It is this one here. Angela is the same as Gorgeous. The base is maybe a tad bit lighter, but I also think that Angela, the top shade here, is also a bit more reflective than Gorgeous. But if you were not able to get your hands on this palette, or you do not want to commit to this palette, but you do want to have that single shade, check out if they still have the shade Angela in the 2023 singles, because that will be the perfect dupe. And now I'm covered in swatches and glitter. Who cares? Let me please know down below, do you have any Odens Eye palettes? If so, what is your favorite, or do you agree with my favorites here? And my nose is itching and I can't scratch because I have glitter everywhere. Oh, that was probably super attractive. But if you never tried them, and if you don't want to try them, and you don't want to comment, you do not have an opinion, you know what? It is in the middle of summer. If you want to push the algorithm and you want to comment something, you know what? Comment Christmas Eve. So, thank you as always for watching, and I hope I can see you in the next one. Oh, and make sure you're subscribed.